My family, we came over to the United States in 1989. My parents brought me over. I was less than a year old. I have no memories of Thailand. We came from a refugee camp in Thailand. My grandma, my mom, my dad, we came over. Sponsors was my aunt, my dad's sister, who came over to the Americas in the earlier times. We lived in St. Paul, grew up in St. Paul for the majority of my childhood years. Attended schools all the way through grade school there. Got married later in the 2000s, moved out of St. Paul, and then I'm in the West Metro now. Yeah, big family. I call it blended family. My parents, I have half siblings from their previous marriages. As far as the upbringing, I grew up in a very diverse community, very community focused, the Hmong, I would say. We are very, I would like to think, very supportive of each other, close knit. There's the annual sports tournament that happens in the McMurray Field to like the New Year's that happen at the now River Center. I felt really supported through the different schools that I've attended. I didn't really experience like the onset of what racism was until much later in life. I felt like my parents sort of like protected me from, they educated us as far as you are different, just be careful. They're very cautious of us, what we can and cannot do. We gotta be home at a certain time in a sense, right? I do notice though that is me, but then now I have kids of my own and I'm more cautious in terms of, my kids, they play with any race, any color. They don't see that, I feel like, and I haven't educated them like how my parents did, where they were like, oh, you are Hmong, this is only how much you can go and only how much you can do, you're Asian, you can't do what other people do, right? And I don't instill that in my kids because I don't want to limit them. As far as that racial experience that I experienced, I didn't experience that until I was in college at a library in a very diverse community. And a passerby in the library just made a lot of very rude comments about my ethnicity. And so that was the first time. It was very awkward. It was very hard to overcome because I know I'm different, but I feel like the communities in Minnesota, one of the most diverse states, is much more accepting to diversity lately. I don't feel that I am inferior to any other groups of color people or just anybody in general. I feel like there's a lot of equal opportunities out there. I don't feel like just because I'm Asian and I'm Hmong and a woman doesn't mean I'm lesser and I should keep my thoughts to myself. I don't feel like that. If anything, it's more of as long as I'm the expert knowledge on the subject matter, I have just as much say as anybody else in the room, right? If I was to say 5 years ago, would I know that I will be in this position? I would say no. I don't know if there's any other person of color, like Hmong. I'm sure there is other person of color, but like Hmong women as a finance director in any of the cities in Minnesota, that I'm not sure. And so I am very proud. Last December, I was at a leadership academy training opportunity out in South Carolina, and we had a closing speaker. He was African American, and what he mentioned very resonated with me. Later on, when I took on the role, was I want to be able to influence and bring on any impact to any younger generations that's coming up thinking about career, to say, hey, one day I can be in that position because Pa's up there, So my parting thought would be like, don't, just because you're a minority, don't let that set you apart from the majority. I would say the community is much more receptive to just changes, right? And so don't be afraid to be a trailblazer in areas that nobody else has gone through. And I hope I can be an inspiration to many generations to come.